You're watching HTV News Science Talk. I'm your host, Haru. Today, we have our guest, Mr. Eloy.
Hello. Glad to be here.
So, Mr. Eloy, as you're invited to our first episode of our Science Talk, so what is our topic today?
I'm thinking maybe we can explore the notion of time travel, see if it's possible, and maybe look at the consequences if it is possible, and just have a general discussion about time travel. It's really something fascinating. People wonder if it is possible at all, and yeah, we can talk about that if you're open to it.
Sure, time traveling is an amazing topic. I think no one can discover how should we do time travel, and I think a lot of people actually want to go back to the past just for looking probably world wars, and probably if they failed their exam they will want to travel back to do it again. But actually we're going to talk about time traveling and to discuss, is it actually possible for after you fail the test and time travel back to do it again? So if we talk about time traveling, what is our first point about time traveling?
I think one of the key things that scientists say when it comes to time travel is that for you to be able to time travel, you have to travel really, really fast.
And the speed is to the speed of light.
Yeah, and they say that you have to travel faster than the speed of light. I think currently there is nothing that travels faster than the speed of light, right?
Yes. Even if some scientists are actually inventing some kind of machines, but it's actually impossible for a machine to go to the speed of light. So that's the first point denied. So that is the first why is it impossible for us to time travel, and that's the first point mentioned.
Right.
So
but let's say, for example, though, just hypothetically, let's say someone did invent a machine that travels faster than the speed of light. Just if right, to get to that speed as well, it's so hard. And who's gonna be in that machine, and what type of material can actually withstand that type of force that's traveling that fast? There's just so many obstacles to be able to time travel, And then if you were to be able to time travel, like one of the things that students are going to use it for is, I'm going to use it to resit my test, right? But then if you resit your test, I did poorly, and I'm going to resit my test too. And every student that did poorly are going to resit their test. You know what the end result of that is going to be?
No.
Every student will get 100%, because if they don't, they go back to it again, right? Until every student gets 100%. And if every student gets 100%, what are the implications of that? How are teachers going to accurately measure your capabilities, right? Or whether or not you have acquired the knowledge in class? And every single test will be 100%, and every single person will come out perfect. But are they that perfect?
I don't think they are. They're just ready to retake it every time, and of course they get it 100%.
And imagine too, if two people are fighting to the death, right? And then, well, I know that you're going to kill me in this particular way. I go back in time and I avoid that. And then my opponent will say, wait a minute, he avoided that in that way. He's going to go back in time and use a different technique. And then we just go back and forth forever.
So it's going to become a cycle, and a time cycle. We're just going to repeat and repeat the same action.
Yeah, but then that question of timeline comes in. Well, if that does happen,
there should be like a million timelines.
There cannot be one timeline, right? Because if I'm living in this current timeline, it doesn't change. It should keep moving forward. But we keep going back and changing things. It's just well, you can't really change my this timeline because I've already lived that timeline already, and right?
Yeah, but in timelines, like now, a lot of people actually think time travel is possible. We're just gonna create a new timeline and just go back to that timeline and then create a new timeline as we come in. Like a lot of people think it
Okay.
that way, but it's actually impossible. And why it's impossible, we're gonna talk about it later. So as Eli mentioned earlier, it's possible for a machine to accelerate to light speed, but actually in the recent NASA website, or I checked it online, is that the scientists are making something, or they haven't even started making, but they just made a research that one kind of machine can accelerate to light, but it takes a year.
Right. So can you talk to us how that works? How it will take a year to reach that type of speed?
They're just going to circle around the Earth and then go faster and faster and faster. And then that's the most information given on Google already.
Yeah, that seems like a really intelligent way of
That
speeding up.
that seems fascinating, but it's impossible as well. Cause the time travel, like the speed of light, the force, like you have to make a material that can handle that force first. And what is people inside? Like if you can accelerate, then the people inside will feel nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's just accelerating. So actually, what are the physics behind time traveling?
Well, okay, time is often associated with space. You often hear the word time and space come together, right?
Like dark
So the
matter or
idea,
something?
yeah. So the idea of time is very. It might be like just a construct. It might just be something that people kind of made up, right? Because if you can imagine that if if our whole entire existence there was no people, nothing happened ever, does time actually exist in that?
Yes. So and like the machines, like the costs of doing a time traveling, like the amount's gonna be huge. Like you know what I mean? Like the machines in the cost are like huge that I don't think like a actually person could afford.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the beginning, it was most definitely, if time travel was actually real, then normal people like you and I will not have access to
Yes,
this.
and the time taken for actually a time travel to be possible is like, oh my god, it's I don't think it's like how much time to take, like the amount of time taken.
Like, do you mean the time that it takes to
Yeah,
make the
make the
machine? Or
machine, inventing, testing. That's gonna be probably a century.
yeah, but the weird thing is this: it doesn't really matter when you invent the time machine, right? Because at the end of the day, you can use that time machine to go back in time to tell the scientists and say, hey, this is how you actually do it. And we could literally invent a time machine tomorrow if time machines were real. You understand what I
I
mean?
understand. And also,
Right.
like, just now we were answering about like the timeline thingy. Like as I told you, it's actually impossible for the timeline theory. And for the timeline theory, like we're gonna answer the question. Actually, as we were traveling, it's impossible to make another timeline. It's just more easier for us to understand, but it's actually impossible for the timeline to happen. And what is actually happening while we're doing time traveling? Um, like actually, we're actually just going to chase the light, which captured the past time event. Like light is around us, and it captured that moment right now, and it flew away. And for the time traveling machine, we have to travel not actually at the speed of light, but faster than the speed of light. And we have to chase that light which happened, and let's stop in the middle, and then you can see what happened. Like probably if you want to see Hitler's suicide, then you have to chase to Hitler's suicide point and then stop in front of it, and then you'll see Hitler's suicide. But you can't. But you're not actually in there, and you can't hear something. Like this is the theory actually is happening for time travel, right, Mr. Eloy?
I think you are right there. Where time travel right now is just basically seeing the light that was reflected in the past and going faster than light and being able to intercept that image, right? So oftentimes you will often see people talking about stars from far away, and then we're seeing their light now. Actually, the light that we're seeing is their past. So that can be time traveling. We're right now seeing their past, which means that
Sure.
their present is not
Sure.
this here, right?
And also, how about like, do you have any current theories about like, Mr. Eloy? Like, is there like any like current theories? Like, is it actually without inventing machine? Is it possible? Like, I heard there's a theory about black holes, or otherwise as known as wormholes. Like some current theories that for time traveling.
Uh-huh. Anything that can warp space, scientists feel like they can warp time as well. So wormholes are this hypothetical, notion, entity that can warp that space time. And in that case, I think it aligns well with Einstein's rule of general relativity, though I don't know too much about that. But
I done
that,
some research for that. Like black holes as the spaceship. Okay, first of all, you guys have to know, okay, black holes are actually like it's a very twisting vast thingy, and as you go into the black hole, it already squashes your spaceship and your person into jams. But you have to make a pressure proof, like very pressure proof thingy to go through the black hole. And if you succeeded, it actually just takes you like 10 minutes before. So it's just like a little time difference. But this theory is very complicated, and I actually suggest you guys to research on that online. But there's like this kind of theory also. And also there's called a quantum tunneling as well. But we're gonna explain that in further episodes. And so overall, do you think time traveling is possible, Mr. Eloy?
I think seeing the past is
More possible than
possible.
the black hole. But actually, I think black hole is more possible than a machine accelerating and seeing the past.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I think in the future, if you ever want to time travel, it's not so much, traveling really fast, and it's just. I feel like we will have machines in a very, very far distance, and then so far that we are able to see things again in, in a minute or two in kind of real time.
And
Well, not real.
and we can actually make a machine to fly into the middle of the Milky Way, because Milky Way is a black hole, right? Is it? I think it is. It is. The galaxy in the middle is a black hole. So it's actually possible. But the time taking to fly to the black hole is another problem. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about another thing to make us more, so we can live longer, and also to make us stronger, Mr. Eloy. So hope you guys are enjoying this episode, and it's been me, Harvey the host, and our guest, Eloy. And that's all for today. And thanks for watching.